Hey everybody, welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the storytelling podcast featuring me, oh spooky spookster John Wayne. That's right, back again this week, coming to you from Wayne Manor, East Wing specific, the Library of Evil in which I sit, with my pipe of Grandpappy's medicine. I'm drinking a fine dark cup of coffee this morning. It's morning time. Again, been doing these in the morning lately. Last couple ones at least, just how it's been. This week has just been bit more busy than usual in the afternoon, so it's harder for me to actually sit down and get it done. So I decided to do it on the morning, the weekend morning, Sunday actually, day before this is gonna go out. Kind of cutting it close, but hey, that's how it is. It's a spooky edition. It's Halloweeny time. If you're listening to this, this comes out the day before Halloween. So if you're listening to it when it comes out, happy Halloween to you all. This is one of my favorite times of the years. I'm sure it is for many people out there as well, maybe listening or not to this program. But Halloween is it's a time when all that spooky stuff and all the scary movies and books and decoration, I guess, is more it comes out. Everybody puts it out like, oh, it's Halloween, we better put our zombie fucking spider in the yard and play the Monster Mash all night. And I was talking with Nick P about this the other night when we were chilling here in the back, the polo grounds of Wayne Manor. We were sitting out having a Cavassier and a fine Cuban cigar that we had cut open and scraped out and filled with marijuana. And he'd said that he felt like the older he got, the less fun Halloween got. And I had to disagree. Well, he said that it's like, when you did used to not have to care about anything and just dress up and run around and eat candy and stuff. So he was taking it back to like the day, like back in the day. I look at it as I told him that, there's people like me and him and my, my other close friends who happen to kind of celebrate the Halloween aesthetic, I guess, if you will, or what's closely associated with Halloween all year round, and that's just how you live. Like I'm always watching scary movies. I'm always reading books that are weird and creepy. I have like my house is a, I don't know, it's like a shrine to Halloween. I've got so many monsters and little collectors and figures and all that kind of shit all over the place, and the art on the walls is creepy. So it's just kind of like I feel like it's important and fun. I was trying to tell him, but when you live it all the time, it's kind of like, all right, everybody, all you fair weather fans, let's get your jollies out on this day. Put on your Power Ranger or whatever you're gonna be this year. I don't know. Power Rangers, are those still things? They just had a movie. You'll put your Wonder Woman on, and then you'll have all the moms and dads dragging their wagons of booze around the neighborhood while they're, got their kid jam-packed into some Boba Fett outfit, doesn't know what the fuck a Boba Fett is, and it'll be a good time for them. It will. But for us who live it all the time, we will be maintaining and holding it down, I hope. Man, sorry. It has been a great week. Again, coffee. Like I was saying last week, I went to do a reading in Austin at Lucas Mangum's house, the Living Room Show Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. There was several more writers there than there were at the last one. I want to say there was maybe 12 people that read this time, and it was all great. It was cool because I really didn't know any of the other writers there except Kelby and Lucas and Gabino, and Wrath showed up, Wrath James White, but I've only met him once before. I didn't really talk to him too much there, so it was still cool to see him read as well. Like it was just all like different stuff. One woman, I don't remember all the names. I apologize, but they are on the event that is still online. She was a romance novel writer. She'd written 50 books, and it was interesting. Like that's like wow. I guess I missed my calling, or I missed my. I wonder if I can make a hard left turn at this point in my career and just start cranking out the crank material. You know what I'm saying? I'll crank it out for you to crank down. Maybe that could be the name of a good romance novel publisher house, like Crankdown House, because, or maybe Rubdown House, or because maybe women they don't crank down necessarily, or maybe they do. I don't know. Crankdown House. I'm gonna think about that one though. But yeah, we had a great time. I got there early and hung out with Lucas for several hours during the day where we drank beer and watched a pretty badass horror movie that I'd never seen before. Um, oh, man, it's called like WNUF Halloween Special, I believe. It's like you're watching a newscast from the 80s, and that keeps throwing it out to their man on the scene correspondent that's going to go into this house that somebody killed their parents in the basement. No one's ever gone in it since the murders. It was very similar to, if you remember this, back in the 80s when Geraldo Rivera had a special where they were opening Al Capone's tomb or whatever. I think no, not his tomb. They were supposed to be finding his safe or something like that. And they were like blowing up walls, and they thought it was behind this and that, and it just turned out it was like a big floppy jerk off. There was nothing there, and it was a live show. It was fucking crazy, and they kept going to commercials so often, and that was just how this movie was. The commercials are hilarious. They're for like local businesses and stuff that are supposed to be from this area of this local newscast is happening. But man, it'd be like just about something to happen, and he'd be like, "We'll go to commercial. We'll be right back." And you'd have to watch these goofy commercials that were very funny and endearing, but almost that I felt at least I was getting more and more annoyed by them because they kept cutting away. It's like, oh man, I want to know what happens. But that was all part of it, of course. It definitely did its job on me. So I recommend it. It was good, if that's indeed what it's called. If not, I'm sorry. We just, how we do it here. We fly by the seat of our pants. And what a fine pair of pants they are to be flying by. I went to a really fun Halloween party last night. First, I stopped off at Insomnia here in Houston. It's a gallery that also sells like vinyl figures, like the toys, like the one-off ones that you like, custom, and there's a lot of video game culture art in there. Anyway, but it's more of a gallery now. So there was like a haunted Halloween type show. My friend Jade was in, and a couple other people, and we went and saw that. I picked up some pins and baubles and stickers from Honeybones, another Houston artist here. And then I went to Jade's house for a Halloween party, and it was very fun. I wore my silver shamrock mask that Nick P brought to me, and it was a great time of Halloween fun. So I'm looking forward to Tuesday. I don't know what's gonna happen. Trick or treaters. I might go to this comedy show. It's all up in the air, folks. So whatever you do, let's make sure that we do it right and have a good time in Halloweenville. Speaking of Halloweenville, that brings us to our one kind of staple segment that I've been doing the last few weeks, and that's the 3-card tarot reading. So I was shuffling up the cards before the show and getting, I draw the cards and kind of research it before we get started, and I try to think about something while I'm shuffling the cards that I don't know, that that I'm thinking about working on or just feeling at the moment. And I'm shuffling up the cards, and I'm just like, yeah, I just need to get refocused. I feel I got a lot going on. I've been spinning a lot of plates lately, and between all that and working a lot of hours at my job, the old day job, it's like, what? Yeah, I'm doing all these things, but it's a possibility that one or several of them are suffering in some way because I'm spreading myself so thin. I don't have the I can't. I just physically can't do it to the extent that some things need to be done because of this. So that's what I was thinking about when I shuffled up the cards, and and this is what we got today. I think it. I think this is another interesting reading. I think applies pretty well to some things going on. So the first card I drew was a Five of Cups. Five of Cups is it has a guy in a cloak. He's looking down. He's kind of forlorn. He's staring down at three cups in front of him that are spilled on the ground. There's two cups right behind him that are still full, and he's across the river from a shelter, a house. So this is supposed to represent difficulty, loss, and the challenges of dealing with that loss. There's three cups spilled in front of him, like I said, and he's so wrapped up in the despair that he feels for those three fallen cups, he does not notice the two full ones that are right behind him. This is, as far as dealing with loss and the difficulty associated with it, for me personally, I did lose Lebowski a couple of months ago, and we did a whole episode on that, and he was my dear darling dog, if you don't know. I've had for 11 years. He was more than my best friend. He was, I don't know, he was very special to me. And I still do have a hard time with him being gone. I really do. I don't know how long that's supposed to last, but that's all I can think that this would be applying. That's what made me think of. I just can't shake it, man. It really bugs me every day, and and I know it'll get better with time. So I kind of feel like that maybe that's where this kind of applies to me. And there's the three cups. This is something I definitely deal with, feeling where I'm so focused on a few road bumps or hiccups or bad things that have happened, or what I didn't achieve, if I didn't achieve something I was trying to, that I take no notice nor allow myself to experience the joy of the good things that are right there with me too. I.e. like the two cups full behind him. He's so, you're so focused on the bad, you almost don't let yourself see the good. And that's something I know I struggle with. I talk to my therapist about that a lot. I do bounce it off my fiance Katie. So that one I was really like, okay, that's cool. I think that's something I need to think about. Think about those two cups still full behind me when I'm getting down, and there's a bridge for him to cross the river, and it's supposed to mean that he, once he crosses over the bridge of the adversity of that river and the loss and all that, then hey, my mom's calling me. Shouts out to Mom, love ya. We're gonna have to finish that call later because we're recording a podcast right now. But I think that it's, if I can focus on the good things, walk just down the river and cross the bridge, then it's there. I'll be at my safety. I'll be able to deal with the loss better, I guess. Next card, Ace of Wands. This is a very positive card, which is super contrasting from that first card and, well, the last card when we get to it. This is a sign for you to go for it. Listen to instincts, follow your gut. If it feels like a good idea, then it is a good idea. However, it's important to act fast and not delay, not think too much about it. If you're someone who plans a lot and likes to plan out each move you're going to make, this is not the time to do that. This is the time to go for it. Breakthrough moment. You're being driven by a strong creative force. The ace is a seed that needs to be grown through your hard work to reach its potential that it possesses for you. So I view this as, for me personally, I think, I'm pretty driven and disciplined anyway with a lot of my stuff, which is why it's so important to me. The new thing that creatively am I'm being driven by is the show that Nick P and I are developing that I've kind of alluded to. We're to put out in January. We're shucking and jiving. We're dancing and prancing and coming up with all these cool ideas every week in our writing meetings. And like I said, I've been playing with some animation stuff that's very exciting for me. It's very cool and inspiring. So I think that's it. And I acting fast. That's something that I need to take to heart on that and be like, I think Nick and I both tend to have a tendency to be perfectionists at times and not know when enough is enough, when it's good enough. And I think we need to, kind of get that out of the way and just grip it and rip it on a lot of this stuff and not think too hard about it and put it out there, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fucking good anyway. I'm super stoked. Last card was the Ten of Swords. Holy shit, this card just looks like bad news when you look at it. Sky is black at the top, and there's a dude lying on his face down on the ground with 10 swords stuck in his back. This is supposed to represent unexpected failure or disaster. Power beyond your control crushes you. It goes on to say you may be able to alter the course of this disaster that's coming your way, alter it, but not ultimately stop it. You still will have to take the hit. And that's kind of like, that I think relates back to the Five of Cups, in that those bad things are happen. I can't change those bad things. Those spilled cups, they're gonna spill. They were gonna spill before I filled them up, I guess. And while I may be able to alter it, I might be able to save some of that liquid in the cups. They're gonna fall, and I'm gonna have to take that and deal with it. That's where I put these cards together. I think that is where that comes from. But there is a positive aspect to this card, because it does signify that new beginnings and a rebirth will come out of this disaster, this failure, this falling, these swords in your back. Like I said, the sky is black in the back, but at the bottom of the sky where it's meeting the horizon, there's just a little bit of yellow light coming up, signifying that the day is coming. It won't be dark forever, and your troubles will not be permanent. So if you wrap all that around, if you're looking at those as this disaster as those three falling cups, I think you realize that's not permanent. You take stock in the good things you got going on, the two cups behind you, and you use that positive energy to grow this seed we've gotten from the Ace of Wands, that's going to motivate and be this new great thing, that we just got to put your head down and go, and not delay and do it. So that's, I don't know, that was a cool one too. I liked that. I don't know if hopefully you guys like this. I kind of dig this 3-card tarot reading to get us into the mood. Nobody's tweeted at me to say like, "Hey, stop it, you idiot." So I guess it's cool. I guess we're gonna keep going with it. Anyway, speaking of going with it, it is Halloween time, and I love Halloween. As we discussed, we all love Halloween. So I wanted to try to come up with a Halloween centric story today. And I think I have. I had an experience at a Halloween party a few years ago that was quite altering to my mind, and well, I'll just have to get into it. But this is the great Halloween acid Kool-Aid test adventure. So this is probably about 6 or 7 years ago. A good friend of mine, Markeisha, shouts out Markeisha, used to have this yearly Halloween party that was a huge event, and it was a very, very awesome party, probably the best parties that I've been to ever. And Like every year, since I'd become good friends with her, I'd been going to the party. This was probably my third or maybe fourth year. I can't remember, maybe third. Um, and was getting ready to go to that. And one of the things that I liked, I kind of made a tradition for myself over those Halloweens back then was always wanted to do mushrooms on Halloween. Like every Halloween, I'd been taking mushrooms, been able to find them somehow from somebody, and had a good time. Like this particular time was to be no different. And I made some calls, beat the ground a little bit, and was able to drum up a good deal of some very potent, high quality mushrooms to take to the party. Now, I will say up top, I'm a fan of mushrooms. I think that it's a very healing experience if you've never tried it before. If you're scared to try it, chill the fuck out. Because you go into a situation like that scared, you're definitely gonna freak yourself out because you've already accepted that that's what you're gonna do. So, that being said, a lot of people would probably say to me, why do you want to take mushrooms at a Halloween party where everyone's dressed in costume and it's spooky and crazy? Because that's the best time for me. I love to be around people when I am taking things like hallucinogens. I don't know, it heightens the experience for me. I think I feed off that energy in some way that's very positive. So I had gotten some mushrooms for this party, and this was back in the day when I was playing in the band Letters to Voltron that we've talked about on the show before, and we were kind of playing a lot. And the three of us, myself, Marty Sauce, and Robbie C, were going to come to the party dressed as the Trailer Park Boys. I was Ricky, Sauce was going to be Julian, and Robbie was Bubbles. We show up to the party that night. As we're walking in, I'm all Rickied out. Sauce is already there. I come in and see him. He looks just like Julian. All the black shirt, jacket, pants. He's got a fucking glass of rum. It's amazing. It was great. Robbie calls us and informs us he's not going to be able to come to the party. And so now we're minus a Bubbles. So we're like just two fucking assholes walking around the party, missing our third fucking wheel. But, whatever. We were like, oh well. And let's have a good night. Sauce was there, and he also wanted to take some mushrooms. So I remember I gave him, what I brought for him. And I had, for myself, saved this, like, long, it looked like the thick, gnarled, old finger of a 100-year-old warlock. It was all kind of curved. It was thick around, like a finger, and had like little knots that like kind of looked like knuckles, and it just had this nice big head on it, and it was long. It was probably like maybe 5.5 inches long or something like that. So it's this big piece, and I was ready to go deep, man. I was like, yeah, we're doing this. So I ate it all. Like right when we got there, or right before we left, I put it all in my mouth, just crushed it all up, and chewed a little bit, and then just swallowed hard, drinking water. Man, I hope no one takes that out of context. Swallowed hard. That's gonna be a soundbite somewhere. Jesus. Anyway, so after I get to the party, and we found out that we're gonna be minus our Bubbles, but there's a lot of people there, and we're still cool, and I just start feeling the mushrooms tickling the back of my brain, like we're almost ready to go. Ready or not, here we come. Like that. It's happening. And throughout the night, like it starts where I stay outside. It's like freezing cold outside, but I just am out there and I won't come in because we start this circle of like people out there that are coming and going for probably about an hour of just like nonstop smoking weed. If you would load a bowl and then someone would walk up and pull out a joint they had or a blunt, and like I said, people are coming and going, so it's constantly shuffling. Like myself and maybe like two other people just stayed static in the circle and just kept smoking. I started going deep, ladies and gentlemen out there. I started, if you've never done mushrooms, and the hallucinations, it's not, you're not really, at least not in my experience, you're not going to sit here and see like a purple dragon flying out of your wife's ass or something, and you have to pet it and ride it onto, you know, Calgary or wherever the fuck you think that you go when you trip. Things move around sometimes, things can get weird. Your perception of things can get kind of screwed up. But as far as hallucinating and truly seeing things that aren't there, I've never really experienced that. However, as I'm out in this circle, the more and more we're out there, I start to see these sigils on everyone's foreheads that are out there. People are laughing, talking, and I'm just looking, and I can swear I could see them, like kind of a glowing, and I mean like the sigils that you see like associated with the occult, like those kind of sigils, are just like on everyone's heads, and I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? I start, kind of walking around, trying to take in other stimulus, I guess, to break away from that. People's masks were like all moving and kind of like pulsing and breathing as I was watching them. It was very, very fucking cool. But while I was out there, I kind of went far. I didn't like disappear from, I didn't pass out or, go into a trance. I was standing out there. I was probably listening to a conversation, but I just kind of slipped out, like conscious, like into the deep subconscious, all the way. I felt I was just slipping back further and further and further into this place, and I got to the very edge, and it was like a mucousy membrane that I was able to push through, and it was fear. And I realized, like, at that moment, as I was having this like kind of, just weird experience in my head while people are around me talking, that I had spent way, way too much of my life being afraid. I was afraid even at that moment. I was living in fear of just life, of things, of not, of failure, of not being on the right path, of just being afraid. And as I was like in my mind able to reach like and push through that weird membrane that was the fear, that it wasn't a big deal, and I was able to pass through it so easily, I realized then that I did not have to be afraid anymore of anything. And it was a horrible waste of energy to be afraid. I could use that energy to further myself and further the things that I was doing. And I kind of like, then I snapped back into my head, just like being sucked through and I'm like back in the, in the present moment, like in the moment I'm present again. And I'm just kind of chewing on that all night, just like, whoa, dude, what the fuck does that mean? That is just crazy. The rest of the night went pretty well. I did kind of get mouthy and surly with some guy. I took whatever he was saying to me as him making fun of the story that I was telling, apparently, and I just kind of like turned like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Are you fucking making fun of me type shit? Like, it was like, that was the only kind of dark moment. But that also might have been a manifestation of me being like, look, I'm not afraid of anything. You're talking shit to me, I'll tell you not to talk shit to me. I don't know. That might be wishful thinking. Nonetheless, I went home from that Halloween party, and I didn't go to bed that night right away. I was married at the time. My wife went right to sleep when we got home. I stayed up and sat at the kitchen table, and I wrote some things down, and I just kind of I thought on that fear and that conquering of fear, and what that was going to mean. And that was that was Halloween, basically. And I realized that I needed some changes in my life, and I needed to not be afraid and be happy. And less than a month later, 3 weeks later actually, my wife and I decided to split up. And that was a crazy hard I mean, talk about being afraid, Jesus Christ. But I think it came about because of this trip. I really do. I think that I was able to see clearly and know what needed to be done. And I definitely attribute it to those magic mushrooms, baby. You gotta do some, man. No, I highly do recommend it. Maybe not a heroic dose like I took that night, but you definitely need to work up and just do it. And don't be afraid, man. There's no reason to be afraid, especially of mushrooms, and especially of anything. And that was my Halloween that changed my life pretty much. So hell yeah, Halloween. Fuck yeah. All right, guys, there you go. A little Halloween story for you that kind of got a little deep, kind of got a little serious there for a second. I don't practice these or anything before I come on and do this podcast. I just kind of decide what story I'm going to tell and sit down and start telling it. So I wasn't sure where I was going to take that one, but I knew I needed to take it there, I guess. So I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, kids, always eat your vegetables. They are good for you. Daddy knows best. I'm not your daddy. I'm sorry. That was awful. What's not awful is you can check out this podcast and everything that I have going on at johnwayneisdead.com. And check out I just put on the store page on there my new book, Death Packs and Left Hand Paths. I'm sending out some personalized signed copies if you order them through the store. I've been throwing in goodies, little extras with the ones that have gone out already. That if you have ordered one from me, thank you so much. I appreciate it, like in a big bad way. So if you want to get one, there's still several available. Just go to johnwayneisdead.com, go to the store page, and you can get that. You can get any of my books. They're there. You can get, and they will be signed from that store. You can also get them on Amazon. If you want to prime it, do all that, whatever's easier, just do it, just get it. But, johnwayneisdead.com is a one-stop shop. Got all the videos on there. There's music. There's all the dates for my band, John Wayne is Dead. Chris and I out rocking and rolling, as well as the dates for readings I have coming up. Big announcement that I'll make next week is about a reading that's going to be taking place here in Houston, a little closer than you may think. But that will be announced on the next episode. So that's a little cock tease for you, my friends. Thank you so much. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter at John Wayne is Dead, or on my Facebook page as just my name, John Wayne Communale. And make sure to make this Halloween a time of breakthrough, discovery, and absolute terror. Bye.
Mockingbird Network.